Hey guys, I'm Jay Randall, and welcome back to my channel, where I discuss wisdom for the modern man. Today, guys, I got another video to react to. This one is brought to us by the YouTuber Wealthy Expat. The title of the video: Brutal Lessons from My $300,000 Divorce. That's a lot of money. Without further ado, let's get right into the video.
These are the best lessons that I learned from my $300,000 divorce with my Ukrainian ex-wife. A lot of people have told me, maybe you chose the wrong woman, maybe you should have checked for her red flags, maybe you should have had a better hiring process when it comes to your wife. But I think regardless of who you pick, obviously we all want to have a family. Maybe you don't, but I do, certainly. Have a family, have kids, have this life that we all dream about. And when you're heading towards that, when you're working on it, you have to keep a lot of other things in mind, which are the lessons that I'm going to tell you, because you might fall in love with that person and disregard all the asset protection, all the legal sides of being in marriage or even cohabitation or having kids, because a lot of you don't want to be married. I probably won't get married again, to be honest, because it's just legally it's one of the worst things you can do if you're a wealthy man.
That's
But
true.
if you're going to live with a woman, if you're going to have kids with a woman, then you still have some legal repercussions, specifically if you have children, right? So she could take the children away, use them for ransom for your wealth, or overall the legal system is against the man depending on the country where you live. So I'll tell you the lessons that I learned. I lost over $300,000, as I said, with my divorce. Obviously a lot of time, obviously a lot of mental damage, and overall affected my business, my growth, and everything. The first thing is that everything I bought before, during, every time in the marriage, I bought it in my name. And this is something that people don't think about. Maybe you're gonna buy a car and you wanna buy it fast. Maybe you made some money in crypto or something. You buy it in your name and done. What I would recommend is before you buy anything large, properties, anything that is luxurious, land, cars, whatever, before buying it, look at what structure you can set up to buy that piece of land, that property, that is not in your name. Because if you buy a car in your name, now it's in your name, it's registered in the government system, and now your ex-wife or your wife could potentially take it away from you, or it could be split, or you would have to sell that car and then split the profits 50-50 between you and your wife, because that's how it works in your particular country. And this is regardless of where you live.
That was a very good piece of advice there. I mean, we saw this take place with the soccer player. Remember, I forgot his name, but it was a very famous soccer player, one of the most famous guys, and his wife tried to divorce him. And in the divorce courts, of course, she tried to come for his millions, try to come for his money, as they do, typical. However, this guy was a very smart guy, not only talented, but very smart. And what he did was, he took the large majority of his wealth and gave it to his mother. So, all the money, all his assets, his properties, his cars, they weren't in his name. They were in his mother's name. So when they went to his accounts and went to see what he owned, they were shocked to see that he actually owned a lot less than they were expecting, because his mother was the one who held the wealth. And you see, guys, when you're, as you know, living this in this current modern dating landscape with the way women are and how they are, like I mentioned in the last video, resource extractors. They are very good resource extractors. You have to put things in place, and you have to be like smart, be crafty, be wise, and allocate your wealth in safe places that is out of the woman's reach. Okay? You have to come up with your own strategy. Maybe you allocate your wealth to a brother that you trust. Maybe you allocate your wealth to your mother, like the soccer player did. However, like if you're a wealthy guy, especially this guy, I looked at a couple of his other videos before I watched this one. This guy's a wealthy individual, which you could tell by the name of his channel, The Wealthy Expat. This guy has money. When you have money, guys, you have to think smart. You can't just be out here thinking, love and love will conquer all, and I just don't have to think about anything. She won't come for my money. She loves me. No, bro, you have to put things in place so that you're covered, because you put a lot of time, money, and investment into becoming the man that you are, into acquiring assets. We're not like women where people just throw money at us, or we could just open up an OnlyFans or just put a Cash App in our bio and people are just sending us a bunch of money. No, we have to work hard, grind, years of suffering, blood, sweat, and tears, and dedication to get to a place where we're successful. You can't just throw it all away for the sake of love. That's madness. You gotta take these things into serious consideration. So, like he said, make sure, or if you can, create a situation where you can not have it necessarily in your name. It still be yours, but it's not in your name. So that way your wealth can stay out of her reach. Let's keep going.
You might say, oh, just move out of Western countries. Yeah, but in some countries, for example, let's say you're from the US and you move to Dubai and you get married and you move your wife to the UAE. Now you're both residents of the UAE. So essentially you're both living in Dubai, you both have a residency permit in the UAE. She could file for divorce in the UAE and still use US law against you. So regardless of what country you're getting married, regardless of what country you're moving to, you want to keep this in mind. So before you buy anything luxurious, I wish that the car that I bought, the properties that I bought, and I was in Ukraine at the time. I really liked Ukraine at that time. And I was living there mainly for her, to be honest, before the war. I bought properties, I bought cars, I bought everything in my name. Didn't care about putting a structure, didn't even care about putting an LLC behind them. Absolutely nothing. And that's why I talk about Cook Islands Trust, or having a trust, so much. Because yes, it's a high price point. You're going to pay maybe $40,000, $50,000 to set up a trust in the Cook Islands, the jurisdiction that I recommend. But then that trust could own the properties, could own the car, could own everything. And a trust in the Cook Islands can pretty much own any piece of real estate or anything anywhere in the world. It's going to take longer. It's going to be a bit harder to do it. You're not going to buy a car in 2 days. In some cases, you can do it, and if it's in your personal name, you can buy it in 1 or 2 days. If it's under a trust, it might take a week, it might take 2 weeks, but it's a small amount of time to then prepare for lifetime, essentially. And this is not about trust. It's not about trusting your wife. It's not about finding somebody that you trust. Your wife could always turn back and use the legal system against you. Things can go south. You might cheat on her. You might do anything stupid, whatever it is. It's not about trust. It's not about finding the good woman. It's not about picking the right person. It's none of that. It's about protecting your assets, protecting yourself legally in case everything goes to shit.
That is very true. Guys, it's not about trust, bro. Like I mentioned, it's not about trust. Your wife has the right, reserves the right to switch up at any given time. There's no law, there's no stipulation that says she can't switch up and turn into an absolute monster, can't switch up and come for your kids, can't switch up and come for your money. Okay? We see this all the time. 70 to 80% divorce rate, and they get that they get that lawyer and they're coming for you. So you, as the man, right? You're the leader. You have to use wisdom. We're not like women where we could just operate off of love and emotions and just throw caution to the wind. We need to operate with logic in all things in our life, right? We might love this person, but guess what? They could switch up and turn into somebody that we don't recognize. It happens to men all the time. So you need to make sure, hey, I love this person, but regardless of how much I love her, regardless of how much I trust her, I'm going to protect myself.
In the long term. So what I would have done back then, I wish somebody would have told me this face to face and would have said, if you're going to buy all that stuff in Ukraine, the place where you're married, where the woman is a citizen of that country, regardless of where she's a citizen from, you're living in that place, set up a trust, and then with that trust, then buy the properties and buy the cars. And also, don't buy things in her name. This is what I did. I bought a property in her name because also what I would recommend is don't get into business with a woman and don't have financial decisions based on your woman.
There you go.
She wanted to invest in real estate in a specific region of Kyiv, the capital of Ukraine. And she was really obsessed about this region. And I thought, I want to make her happy. I want her to be satisfied with me. Happy wife, happy life, and all that.
No.
And I bought that property in her name. Obviously, when she filed for divorce, that property was automatically hers, and I couldn't do anything about it. Even with the best lawyer in Ukraine, nobody cared because the property was in her name. So also, careful about buying assets under your wife's name. You might do this because you're in love. You might do this because maybe you haven't had sex in 1 or 2 weeks and she's using this against you. Sometimes it happens. You want to be very careful. Something else that I didn't do, another lesson, is I didn't hire any lawyers and I didn't properly study divorce, child custody law, separation law, anything like that. What you want to do, regardless of who you marry, where you marry them, you want to study divorce law, you want to study child custody law, you want to hire a lawyer, you want to hire multiple lawyers to advise you. And what you can do, which I would recommend, is to book a consultation, a paid consultation, because now you're in a client relationship with that lawyer and your wife can't hire the same lawyer as you. So what I would recommend, get the absolute best lawyer in your city or country and then pay them a price for a consultation. Maybe it's $100, maybe it's $200, maybe it's $1,000. Lawyers all over the world are much cheaper than they are in the United States or in the UK, for example. So a US lawyer might charge you $5,000, where a lawyer in the UAE or a lawyer in Europe or anywhere might charge you $200 for a consultation. And what you want to do, you want to have this consultation, you want to maybe sign an agreement, even though you're not paying them a retainer or anything, you're at least creating that client relationship so that your wife can't use the same lawyer as you. And you want to study divorce law and you...
Man, that is a lot of good advice right there. That's a lot of good advice, yeah. Because if you get the best lawyer in the city and you have a consultation with him, he now knows your information. So by law, he can't then go and, deal with your wife because that is a conflict of interest. So that is actually a really good idea. And on top of that, I'll even double down. I don't think any man should be getting married. Well, I wouldn't even recommend men get married in the West to begin with. But I don't think any man should be getting married without first sitting down with an marriage lawyer and a divorce lawyer. So you can really see what you're getting into, especially with your state, because states have different laws that you have to abide by, and it's different from state to state. So you need to really sit down and know the ins and outs of the different scenarios. What is likely to happen if I get a divorce? What's likely to happen if I make this much money? What's likely to happen if we cohabitate? You have to sit down there, talk to them, get a good, however long it takes, how many hours you need, but know all the information. Go in there with questions. Have a list of questions that you want to know, and then get all those figured out so that and you can be advised as the best practices of how to go about it. If you're going to engage in the insanity of getting married in the West, you got to know what you're getting into. And also overseas, because this guy's overseas and he's still getting screwed, bro. You need to know, even if you're overseas, man, even if you're an expat, because a lot of the reasons why men even leave the West is to go get married, is to find a wife. Still go seek out a lawyer. Don't just think, oh, I'm in a different country now, they can't screw me over. Bro, we do not operate on just on a whim. We don't do guesswork here. We want to know the facts. So go speak to a lawyer. Like he said, they're not even expensive. Once you're, out of the West. So go pay $200, $300 and sit down with a lawyer and know the facts. That way you could protect yourself in all cases. But let's keep going.
Study child custody law, and you can use ChatGPT for this. It's pretty good. You can just put child custody law in this country, explain it to me, what percentage of my income is going to be used as the child support amount. And also careful, because let's say that you move to a new country and then you decide to set up a business in that country, and you have bank accounts in that country, and you make investments in that country, and you start moving millions through that country. If anything goes south, I'm a big proponent of caring for your children, spending money on your children, supporting your children, of course. But she might use that against you. The child might need $2,000 a month, but she's asking for $50,000 a month because she knows you make $1 million a month. And on a percentage basis, 50,000 to $1 million is only 5%. And because you have so many investments, so many things, so many companies in your name, you're moving so much money through your personal accounts in that country, she can now use that against you. And those $50,000, even though the child realistically only needs $2,000, she can use that to buy her Louis Vuitton purses. And this is not about hating women. This is not about, I'm not bitter. I'm only 27. I'm not a bitter man. This is just, I've experienced some things and I don't want you to go through them because this can hurt. This can really F up your entire life if you let it. So study law, study custody law. Make sure you don't pass through too much money through your personal accounts. If you're buying property for a golden visa, for example, you can do that. You can buy property in your name because you kind of have to. But the rest of the properties that you buy, the companies that you set up, you want to be extremely careful if you're having them in your name, ideally under a trust or under an LLC of some sort. What I would also say is I got residency in Ukraine based on my ex-wife. This is something that I wouldn't do ever again, is moving to a country where your immigration and residency status depends on your wife or your girlfriend or anything. A lot of people do this. They move to a certain country, their wife is from that country, so they get a family residency permit.
You know what that does right there? She now has all the leverage. Your residency, you being able to stay in that country, now depends on her. That is so much leverage. You make all the money, you're the provider, but your residency depends on her. That is a terrible situation to be in. Guys, you never want to be in a situation where the woman has leverage over you, especially to that degree. That's insane. Nah, bro, that's because now anything that she wants, she can hold that over your head and threaten you and just dangle that. I could get you out of here in a heartbeat. You better buy me that. You better do this. You better do that. Bro, never give a woman that much power over you. Let's keep going. Let me see what he has to say.
No, because now she has leverage over you.
There we go.
She can use that against you. If things go south, she can say, I'm going to call immigration. I'm going to get you deported. This has happened. And you're always dependent on that person. You don't want that leverage over you because she can use that leverage over you to then get money, to then get assets, to then get anything. There's also some psychological plays. I will never do that again. If I'm moving to a country with a woman because her family's from there, because we're going to have kids there, because anything, I am going to get residency by myself. Either there's a golden visa, or I can set up a business, or I can have some contact there that can give me residency or hire me, anything, but not through a woman. I highly recommend you. I know this might sound stupid. I know it's an easy way to get residency somewhere, just marry someone, but now they have leverage over you. That might push you to get married actually. So you might say, oh, I'm never getting married again. And then you meet a beautiful woman and she's from Czech Republic or whatever, and you want to move there with her to be with her family and to raise kids and so on. And now you decide, okay, let's get married because that's the easiest way to get a residency permit, and then you are effed. Yep. So don't do that. Then other things is that I invested way too much in my ex-wife. If your wife is consistently asking you, oh, please buy me this, buy me that, buy me this luxurious thing, buy me this, buy me that, buy me this, buy me that, that then gets you into a loop of buying things for her. And that's how she got me to buy property in her name at the end. So you want to be aware of this. I'm not hating women. I'm not saying you shouldn't invest into a woman, but the more you invest, the more she expects more investment and more and more and more. Yep. So buy me the Birkin, and then buy me a car, and then buy me some real estate, and then buy me multiple pieces of real estate, and then it just keeps compounding. So you want to keep that in mind. It's all psychological plays, and you want to be very careful. And the last thing that I will say is that she used...
Before he continues, bro, like that's a lot of good advice. Guys, man, I've heard a lot of unfortunately bad things about Ukrainian and Russian women. Like those women, Ukrainian and Russian in particular, seem to be like really big gold diggers from what I've heard, right? So you want to be careful if you're a passport bro or just a guy trying to, travel the world, because these women, they're very beautiful, gorgeous, and they have that accent, they have that beautiful look that a lot of guys are attracted to. But man, and they know they're also very feminine. So that when you leave the West, you're like femininity starved. Like you're just starved for it. You're so used to dealing with masculine women that you actually meet a feminine, sweet, woman like that. They're gonna sink their teeth into you, bro. Like the looks plus the femininity, it's like they got you just like that. However, they're very good at hiding their nature, which is they are really big gold diggers. Really big gold diggers, bro. So they will use their looks and their femininity to get you trapped, and then they will milk you for everything you have. So be very careful. I'm not saying avoid Russian or Ukrainian women altogether, because I'm sure there's some good ones out there. But these stereotypes exist for a reason. So you want to be very cautious if you encounter one that you're trying to take seriously. Like, really know her motives and see. Make sure the best way to do it is the best way to know a woman isn't here to finesse you is if she's investing in you. If she's investing money in you, time in you, effort into you, like really big investments into you, that's how you know that. And I would go take that even a step further and ask for more investments, like make her invest more if you're dealing with a Russian or Ukrainian chick, because man, they seem to be like insane gold diggers. But let's keep going.
Beauty and her sexual appeal against me because she had leverage over me. So imagine all the leverage that this woman had over me.
I literally just said that.
On a visa for marriage. So I moved to Ukraine based on a visa for marriage. So once she had the immigration leverage. Then she had, because I was buying so many things on her name, because I was buying so many things for her, then she had the asset leverage. I also was buying everything in my name, all the property, all the cars and everything. So then she had the, we're going to get divorced and I'm going to take half your assets leverage. She had so much leverage on the relationship. And anything that she wanted, she would get because she had all that leverage. Plus, she would say, hey, if you want to have an intimate moment with me, you need to buy me this extra. Maybe you haven't experienced this, but some women will do this. And I'm not, again,
bro, that is absolute manipulation. You see, sex for compliance, bro. Like literally, I'm not sleeping with you unless you buy me real estate. Bro, that's not your wife, bro. That's like your, bro, you're literally, that's like a ransom. That's literally, bro, you're in a hostage situation right now. You're literally in a hostage situation. You're in a foreign land with a foreign woman who holds that much leverage over you, and now you can't even get like any intimacy unless you buy her like thousands of dollars worth of property, hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of property. Yeah, bro, that's a hostage situation. You got to get out there as soon as possible. And there's no way to get out of that without taking a huge loss. But at the end of the day, that huge loss is going to be better than staying in there because you're just going to put yourself in a deeper and deeper hole if you're in a situation with a woman that has that much leverage over you. So it's better just to get out, pay the cost that you have to pay to get out, and then just never make that mistake again because, holy, that is bad.
Hating women, it's just when she has all the leverage in the relationship, she might use this against you. If you want to have an intimate time with me, you're going to have to invest more. You're going to have to buy me more things and so on. And that's how guys end up spending like millions of dollars on a woman. And at the end, they get wrecked. And I don't want you to get wrecked. So those are all the, I know this is a little video, but those are all the lessons that I learned from my insane divorce that took many years, lost me a lot of money.
That was a really great video. And guys, remember, he said he's only 27 and he went through that. This guy has amassed a lot of wealth. He's very successful. Like, that's good on him. But 27 years old, got married and now he's divorced. Horrible, experience for him. That's crazy. And this is why men, whether you're in the West or you're going to go get married to a woman overseas, you must know what you're getting into. Understand the woman and what her motives are and what type of woman she is. And you must understand the laws, the law of the land. Understand where you're getting married and what situation you're actually signing up for legally. All right? Because this marriage thing, no matter where you are in the world, can come back to bite you in the you-know-what if you do not protect yourself in the right ways. All right? So that's a great video for the guys out there. But that's all for today, guys. If you got value from the video, please go ahead and leave a like and subscribe to the channel. And until next time, guys, take it easy.